Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video I'm going to take you through the week ahead analysis. I'm going to go over the key news for this week and some charts of interest. So we're going to start off with the news, and to be fair, we're quite light in terms of high impact news this week. We've got some important data coming out, but not as much as what we've seen previously. What I would be looking out for is what the Federal Reserve Chairman Powell says this week. Obviously we saw the Federal Reserve hike interest rates by 25 basis points last week, so we could be seeing another increase to come here from the Federal Reserve. So if Powell outlines any of these talks on Monday or Wednesday about further rate hikes or how aggressive the Federal Reserve will hike rates in the US, then we could see some volatility around the US dollar. In other news to watch out for, I think pound CPI data, inflationary data, is going to show another increase, which is nothing new. We've consistently seen inflation grow globally, so an inflation increase here for the pound is looking likely. However, the Bank of England have acted quite aggressively recently, but this could put further pressure on the Bank of England to continue to keep hiking those rates. Moving on to the strength meter then. So looking at the strength meter, we have quite a few currencies coming into areas of reversal. We've also got them being very strong, so we can see that Aussie and Kiwi remain the top currencies at the moment. However, they are in those reversal zones where we could start to look for a little bit of weakness. It doesn't look likely at the moment, but just be aware that the trends on those markets could come to an end at some point in the near future, as we are in these key reversal zones. Same for the pound and yen. Yen's been really weak lately. I'm expecting that weakness to continue in the short term, especially because stocks are starting to rebound as well. So yen to me is a market that's looking quite weak at the moment, despite it now being in a reversal zone. Pound for me is one I think is more likely to reverse. We've seen a couple of weeks now where price has just kind of, or the sort of strength of the pound has been fairly flat at this reversal zone. So I like the idea of being a potential buyer of the pound against some weaker currencies. Moving on to the dollar index then. So last week we had a nice weekly bearish close here. The trend for the dollar is still fairly bullish. We can see that the market is still continually making higher highs, higher lows on this weekly time frame. So expecting that to continue. We came into last week's low. We saw the price bounce from last week's low here on the 4-hour time frame. So again, it's kind of showing us that there are still buyers hanging around on the US dollar. However, we are in that retracement phase. We could see price drop a little bit further, perhaps into this 97.44 level, where we could start to see some buying again. But at the moment, on the 4-hour time frame, we can see the market making lower lows and lower highs. Price has recently come back into a previous structure low and rejected quite aggressively. So we're either going to see a continuation of this sell-off back into these swing lows here, or we're going to see maybe a retest of these highs and a rejection to the downside. Moving on to the pound then. So if the dollar's going to weaken further, pound I think could really benefit from this. Last week we saw a rejection at 1.3 on the weekly time frame. Looks like price could be heading back to these swing lows here at 134. What I'd really like to see is the 4-hour change cycle. Despite us kind of having this consolidation down here where price broke out of it, I think that you can see the higher time frame sort of head and shoulders pattern here, suggesting that, you know, we might want to wait for price to actually break and clear the neckline before looking for any kind of continued buying pressure here for the pound. So a break above 132, if we can hold above 132, I think would be a good idea to start looking for those longs back to 134. If price holds below 132, price could remain slightly bearish here and test 1.3 again. It's looking more likely that we are going to break to the upside though, so looking for that completion of this head and shoulders pattern. Moving on to silver then. So we featured silver in last week's video, basically talking about the seasonal bearish pattern on silver. Usually the price of silver falls between March and April. That's looking like it's happening at the moment. We can see this rejection from this key supply zone recently around about 26.77, and price has fallen, but we are coming back into some structure points, so we may start to see price bouncing from these levels. But what I'm going to be looking for is further opportunities to potentially sell silver. If price could come back up into this neckline area of the head and shoulders pattern that was featured here, then I'm going to be looking for opportunities to remain bearish. Finally then, the S&P 500, the US stock market bounced and rebounded quite aggressively last week. We've seen quite a bullish close here on the weekly time frame. This is after the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates and talked of further rate hikes to come. So this could be the start of a pushback to the all-time highs. So looking at the 4-hour time frame here, price has cleared these recent highs. We've had a small consolidation previously. Price has now broken out of that. So looking for a retest of the recent demand zone around about 43.76. If price could come back into this area here, find some bullish price action or change trend on a lower time frame, I think this could be a good area to start looking for those bullish moves, because price could move quite aggressively to the upside, especially this week if the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says anything fairly hawkish for the upcoming Fed meetings. So that's all I've got for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this video update. If you did, leave this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel to watch some more of our Forex trading content, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Cheers.